All right, everybody, let's get started. My name is Joseph Schooland, and I'm an account manager here at Populi. Maybe you know me, maybe you've interacted with me before, or you might have interacted with our other account manager, that's Nick Holloway. We both kind of manage different accounts here at Populi. So you either have me or him. And you might have also interacted with our customer support team. So there might be some names there that you remember, or you've talked to: Isaac, Stephen, Josh, Jordan, and pretty much anybody. Our support team opens up your world even to our developers. You might even hear from them sometimes through our support team. So I want to welcome you. Today we're going to go over setting up assignments in courses. So this is primarily a faculty thing, although I do know some schools, the registrars go in and do this kind of thing. And this will be recorded so you can pass it around to other people at your school if you want later. A few housekeeping tips. One is that just the way this webinar is set up, I do have the Q&A window open on my other screen. And whenever someone asks a question, it's really easy for me to see it right there. I might save questions until the end, or if a question pops up that seems to really apply to what we're working on in the moment, then I might answer it there. It just kind of depends, but I will try to get to all questions. We'll see if I can or not, but I'll definitely try. So the thing I want you to know is that there's two places you can put text. One is the Q&A and the other is chat. Chat kind of stays hidden for me. So if you put it in there, I'll probably miss it. The Q&A is right up where I can see it. So if you put it there, I'll probably see it. So put it in the Q&A, not the chat. That is it for now, and I'm going to go ahead and kill my video and share my screen. Before we begin, if you're new to this at all, then sometimes this just feels like you're drinking from a fire hose. If you've been to these before, you notice I kind of start every one of these this way. But I want to make sure that this doesn't have to be the end. This doesn't have to be your one last chance to get all the information you need about Populi. We're here to help. We're here to help every single day. And so I want to make sure you know how to find help if you ever need it along the way. And then we'll jump in to start trying to drink from this fire hose. This is how you find help. Up here in the top right, we've got a help button. If you're the type who likes to research on your own, you can click search the knowledge base. If you want to reach out to our support team, you can open a support request that essentially takes you to a window that's kind of like an email or something. You just type in your request. Our support hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time, excluding holidays. And if you have a specific question, it's often great for us to spell it out. I got this student and their grade is this, but I think it should be this, and I can't figure out why it's not adding up properly. Something like that. That's very specific. If you send it, if you spell it out, write it out, send it to our support team, then they can look up that specific student, look up that specific course, look up that specific assignment, and get some feedback to you. If you're not really sure what your problem is, it's a little more nuanced and you kind of want to talk it through, give us a call. Our phone number is 877, the number 4, and the word Populi, 8774-POPULI. And that phone email support is available to all faculty and staff at all Populi schools. And for students, we do just email only support. So don't feel like just because you're not the Populi person at your school that you can't reach out to us. We love to hear from anybody and everybody. When we reply to you in a support request, it goes to your email, but if you want, you can also look up those replies here under View My Requests. If you have an idea for us to make Populi better, go to the feature request forum. There are a lot in this forum, even right now, but we do look at all of them. We do pay attention to all of them, so they don't just get lost if you put them in there. You can also interact with our other clients here under Visit the User Forum. I'm going to click on Search the Knowledge Base real quick, point out a couple key articles that I think are important. One is whenever you go to the knowledge base, always keep an eye on our promoted articles. In fact, this is probably where you found out how to sign up for these group trainings. And so here's another one coming up on rubrics. So you can always sign up for those there. There's a few key ones. Welcome, getting started. This has all our tutorials in it in one place. How to log in. Maybe you could send this over to somebody who's just new to Populi. And then Populi support. This has our number and hours and all that I just told you. But if you forget it, you can click on this and find it back. Those numbers and hours are also on our public website. You can dig into here for our release notes. You can even subscribe to those so that you know whenever we release new features, which we do work on every single week. And then for today, we're going to be focused here on courses/faculty. There's a number of things here. We've got a whole step-by-step. We've got frequently asked questions. We've got assignments. And so you'll be able to just poke around here. I find that that's usually the easiest way is to kind of click through rather than using the search. Because in the search, also all the feature requests come up. So sometimes a lot of stuff that really isn't the heart of our knowledge base doesn't always show up. But always give it a shot. And if you can't find it, then click through. But today we're going to be focused on assignments. You can dig into these later if you want. But for now, I'll just walk through how they work. I decided to start with something that was already built, so you could sort of see the end product, and then we'll go and actually build it. So you can see the end product, and then we'll start at the beginning, and I'll take you through it. The first thing in assignments in Populi, first off, you'll just need to go to your course. You'll be able to see what term you're in, what section you're in, and you're going to go to the assignments section of the entire course. The assignment section is split into two parts. We've got assignment groups and actual assignments. Assignments fit into assignment groups. So what assignment groups essentially help you do is create some sort of weighting system. So here we've got attendance is weighted 15%, exams 30, projects 30, and quizzes 25. So no matter how many assignments I put into the quizzes group, like down here we've got 4 quizzes in the quizzes group, it's always going to be weighted 25%. I could put 15 quizzes in there, 20 quizzes, 7 quizzes, it doesn't matter. It will just still be weighted 25%. So that's what the groups help you do, is maintain kind of that weighted for each section. You can do a couple other fun things. You can make a whole group just be extra credit if you want. You can drop the lowest. Here I've got drop the lowest quiz. In fact, I can even drop the lowest 2 if I want, or 3 if I want. And then we've just got some data for you. The mean and median, and then how many assignments, and if you need to edit this and delete it, you can. We also have assignments. So I've showed how assignments are a part of different groups. We've got assignments like attendance and file. So these are types of assignments: attendance type of assignment, file type, grade only, discussion, peer reviewed file, test, and so on. And we'll walk through how to build each one of those. Here's some quick examples. Attendance is pretty straightforward. All this does is it applies the student's attendance percentage to this assignment. So if they have 80% attendance, then they're going to score 80% of whatever this assignment is worth. So that's pretty straightforward. File is where they can upload any file. It could be a paper, could be a video, could be audio, but it requires them to upload a file in order to complete. And here's an example of what a file might look like. Here's Simon. He's uploaded a number of files, but here's one that he's uploaded. And I can actually annotate, and I've done this already, just highlight different sections, and as I'm highlighting them, write on it. So I can essentially grade the entire document inside Populi. We also give you a comment box. This is for every assignment, not just the file type assignments, where you can talk back and forth with the student, just between you and the student privately on this assignment. Well, I suppose your teaching assistant, actually your teaching assistant and other faculty can also jump in, but no other students. So here's my assignment. Okay, I'm done grading. Thank you for everything. If you want to leave an internal comment for yourself, you can do that. This is not visible to the student. I did that here. Simon did great, and so on. Grade only, this is nothing special. This just means that you're going to have a paper assignment and you just want a place to put a grade. So no extra special features for that. Discussion means that they can participate in a discussion and then you can grade it. Here's an example of that. Our first discussion is easy. Why did you choose architecture? I can create some requirements. Average comment grade is going to be 15. Average reply is going to be 15. As long as they comment at least twice, they'll get 10 points. And as long as they reply at least twice, they'll get 10 points for a total of 50 for this entire assignment. Comment means that they interacted with whatever I posted at the top. So this right here, Simon saying, I've always thought it would be cool to be a part of a building that will be around forever, or around even after I'm gone. That's a comment because it's interacting right here. And then students can reply to each other's comments, or even faculty can reply to each other's comments. And then the faculty have the option to grade each comment and grade each reply. And this discussion can be text or it can be video, audio, whatever you require if you have some sort of audio visual course. One other handy thing that you can set up here is I can decide to close comments. I can make it available on a certain date so students can't get in here early. I can have students peer rate each other so they're actually interacting and doing kind of a peer rating system. I can do post first, which means that the student has to post a comment to my topic before they can before they get to see everybody else's comments. So they don't see anybody's comments until they post their first comment. So hopefully they come up with a little more original ideas. I can make max comments or replies, decide what each comment and grades is kind of out of how many points, and decide if I'm not auto grade it. You can really set it up to auto grade if you've got a lot of these built in. That's an example of another assignment. We've also have peer review file. I don't think I have a good example in here, but I've got a picture right here. Essentially, what a peer review file is it's exactly the same as that file where you can annotate it, they can upload a file, everyone can see it. But the peer review portion of it introduces all the other students into it. So the other students can then grade it and give text and interact with it. In fact, maybe that's part of their grade is needing to interact with someone else's file. This might be more of a master's level thing, but or it could be undergrad, but that option's there. And then finally, we have tests, test type, which could be a quiz, exam, test, whatever you want to call it. And here is an example of what a final product of that might look like. We have 7 different question types. We've got true or false, put in order. So I can grab these, move them around, check all that apply, matching, multiple choice, short answer, kind of like a fill in the blank, I just choose what should go here, and then essay. And Populi will grade all of these except for the essay question. And possibly the short answer, we can take a closer look at that. Also notice that the image, you could put an image in here, you could put a video in a question, you could put an audio clip in a question, you could put a 5-page PDF in a question. So you can build those in case that a student needs that to answer the question. All right, to grade an assignment, I just click on the name of the assignment. I can hit enter grades and type in these grades right here, all the way down. I can click on a student's name, review things, annotate things, give feedback here, and then enter grades for this individual student here. From here, I can jump around to different students or just hit save that grade and go to the next student. Or if I want, I can go to the Gradebook. And the Gradebook just displays all the assignments and all the students and what's here. And if I want, I can enter grades here, looking at everything at once instead of doing it one assignment at a time. If you need to, you can, so Populi will auto-calculate the final grade, but if you need to, you can override that final grade. If you made a mistake and didn't mean to override it, then you're just gonna need to tab through or change one of these assignment grades, and it will auto-calculate immediately over here in the final grade. I'll show you that again. So I decide 85 is what I wanna give, and then actually make a change somewhere else, and then Populi is going to recalculate it as soon as I make that change or tab through. And then finally, I can even build some kind of grade report, so I can edit final grades and attendance. Or I can give a comment, and this comment will show up on their grade report. I can even look at, let's say, Simon student here. Any notes on the course that I put anywhere else, whether assigned to a assignment or not, will show up right here. And then I can also see his grade. So I kind of get a good picture of notes I've left along the way, what his grades actually were, and then I can give some kind of encapsulation of how he did overall, and that will show up on his grade report. If you leave it blank, nothing shows up, so it's not a required field. So that's kind of end product. Let's go ahead and set this up from the beginning so you can get an idea of how this might look. So here we have nothing. Now under assignment groups, Populi just creates a group for you called Other. And if I want to, I don't have to create these weights and groups. I can just start adding assignments in the other group. And then so I just have a pile of assignments and no real split out groups. But let's go ahead and split out some groups. I'm going to go ahead and add, let's see, we'll add an attendance group. We'll weight that at 15%, not extra credit, not going to drop the lowest, and hit save. And so notice how others is just this catch-all. So we used up 15%, we got 85 left over. I'll add another one, we'll call it papers. We'll weight that 30% and hit save. Notice my other, still got a catch-all there. And we'll do another one, we'll do exams, another 30% and hit save. We're down to 25, what we got left. And so we'll take up that last 25 with quizzes. And for quizzes, I do want to drop the lowest and hit save. So now other is gone because we've taken up everything and we've got that split out into my 4 groups: attendance, exams, papers, quizzes. But I don't have any assignments. So if I want to add, and by the way, along the way, let's say I want to mess with some of this stuff, I can always hit edit groups and assignments. Once I've at least added one, I can edit it and change the names. I can delete them here, or I can add a new one here. I can add some assignments along the way. And there's some different types here. Well, our first example will be a grade only type. And this is essentially, maybe you won't call it in-class quiz, but what grade only is you just want a place to put a number, put a grade, but you're not taking advantage of any of the fancy features inside Populi. It's like you have a paper quiz that you hand out in class. They all take it, you grade it by hand, and then you want a place to plug in that number. That's what grade only would be. And I can give this so many points, maybe 10 points, maybe it's not extra credit. I'm gonna put it under quizzes. Published means it's good to go. Rubrics, we're gonna work on rubrics in a few weeks, so I'm gonna skip over that. And I could put on a due date if I want. 2 weeks. I think if I put it 2, Populi will figure that out. 2 weeks from now at 12 noon. Hit save. Well, this is an old example, so I probably can't do this 2 weeks from now. I probably have to put it in the past. So let's go with November 2015, something like that. All right, so here we go. We have a due date, we have availability. Grade only, that's the first example. Another example, let's do file. And this could be, remember, this is the one where they can upload it. So we'll call this midterm paper. They have to upload it. I annotate it. We'll give this one 100 points. And we'll put this under the group papers. We'll say this is due October 14. Hit save. Availability just shows essentially when it's available, when they can see that this is something they'll have to do. And I've got this always available, so they'll always be able to upload that file as long as that term exists. So my fall 2015 term is actually July 1st to December 31st. That's what the dates of that term are. And so it's defaulting to the length of the term. I'm sure your guys' dates will probably be something more like late August to early December, but that's just what I got here. Another example, let's do a test. We'll call it quiz 1. But instead of a grade-only test, we're going to do an online test. And I'm skipping over this peer review file, but peer review just essentially means that I already showed you that picture. It's where other students can review the file that's uploaded. All right, so Populi wants to know, how are the points going to be calculated? I could do fixed points. That just means this quiz is worth 10 points, and I decide how those are going to be divided up between the questions. So I might have one question worth 1 point, one worth 3 points, one worth 2 points, things like that. Or I could do weight questions equally. So that means if I put 5 questions in here, they'd each be worth 2, and so on, or it might split it down to fractions. Or I could do question points are the total. So that will zero out my points, and in whatever points I put for each question, that will be the final total. So if I put 2 questions with 2 points each, a question worth 5 points, another question worth 5 points, then we're going to end up with those 4 questions at 14 points. So those are the different ways to do that. We'll go ahead and do fixed points. I can choose extra credit or not. I'm going to put this again in the quizzes group. If I want, like maybe I'm not ready yet, so I'm not going to publish this yet because I don't actually have the test questions entered. So I'll just leave this no for now. When is this due? We'll put it here, August 4. I can put in a time. And this is where it kind of makes sense maybe to not have it always be available. I can say available from, and that means I choose a certain date range. I could choose available after, and I choose a date, and after that date until the end of the term, it's going to be available. I can do available until, and that means from the beginning of the term up until this date, it will be available. Or I can do always available. Just for the sake of time, I'll leave it always available so I don't have to start put in dates. But this due date is going to end up showing up on the student's calendar for this course. So they'll know when it's due when they log in. And I can decide, is this visible to the students or not? I'll just leave it visible all the time, even if it's not available, so they know that it's coming. I can set a time limit for this quiz. We have some suggestions here. And if you don't like any of those suggestions, you can choose other and put in some number of minutes. And this could be, in the hundreds if you need them to. Retake policy, let's say I want 2 retakes after they take it the first time, and we'll say it can keep the highest score. So this isn't really going to be super essential to their grade. I want them to take this a few times just so they get familiar with the questions. Maybe that's what I'm trying to do. And then for tests, you can also require proctoring or not. You can require proctoring for individual students if you need to. What proctoring does is it requires a proctor to enter their cell phone. We text them, they put in a code, and then the test can move forward. And then that proctor needs to do that same process again once the quiz is over, so that that helps us determine that the proctor was there the whole time. And then you can go talk to them about how the student did. All right, so this is just a draft because this is not published yet. We'll have to go over to test to actually set that up. But let's go ahead and take a look at that. So if I go over here to test, then because I created the assignment, it pops up in the test. In fact, that's the only way I can get a test here if I want to do one online. We even give you a little reminder, want to add a test? We go to the assignments tab and create a new test type assignment. And so here I can add a heading, week 1 test. I can then add maybe some text, fill, answer the questions below. I can then add an actual question. And this is where I choose how I want to do this. I can create a brand new question. We have those 7 types: multiple choice, short answer, put in order, multiple answer, essay, true or false, or matching. I can create a new question based on an existing question. This is where I can actually search for an existing question. I don't know if I have this here. Okay, here we go. So I can choose the existing question and hit continue. And then I'm brought into a screen where I can tweak it. We'll go ahead and try it out. So here's my existing question. Architecture is the art and what of designing and erecting buildings and other physical structures. I can upload my file or video or audio here if I want. And here's my answers. If they answer science, spelled correctly, they'll get 100%. If they do technology, that's not quite what I'm looking for, so that's 50%. And if they do planning, that's 0. And I can add as many answers as I want, and I can even make it case sensitive if I want. But because I want to create a new question based on an existing question, I would probably mess around with this and restructure it. Then I can decide how many points this is going to be worth, and Populi tells me what that max is, because remember I chose a fixed number of points, and we've got 10 is that fixed number, and so far 10 are unassigned. Let's say for this, I'm going to do, it was an existing question. I'm going to tweak it a little bit and flip those around. I'm going to cancel that for now, though. I don't want to save that in my question bank. Another option is I can just import an existing question. So I can bring questions in from other tests or even other courses that I've taught, other questions that I've created. Or I can add a group of questions from a category. So let's say as I've been building my questions, I've been categorizing them as week 1, week 2, week 3. So here I could say, you know what, I'm going to do this the easy way. Just give me from the category week 1, use up all those points, and pull in 5 questions from the category week 1 and just distribute 10 points across those. Nothing's extra credit, and hit save. Once I've done that, I can hit preview. And here's some of those questions grabbed at random, 5 of them. Hit preview again. It's going to change it. So this is kind of like a random 5 pulled from that category. This might be especially helpful if you're allowing retakes. Maybe you've got 10 questions in a category and it randomly pulls 6 or 7. So the students are seeing some of the same questions each time, but not all of them. And then for this quiz, I can see history and I can see an analysis. We can actually go back real quick and take a look at what that looks like. I've got some data over here under quiz 1. History, I can see which students took the test at which time. If I click on the time, I can see the actual test and the answers that they gave. Got this one wrong, got these right. how long it took them, the letter grade that Populi gave them, the availability the test had, and the IP address and whether or not they had a proctor. If you're concerned this IP address is from some other country and you know that they're in the US, then you might want to look into that and see if they didn't hire somebody from another country to complete their test. So that's why that's there. You have an idea where they came from, and then a proctor. And then an analysis. We take all the answers and we tell you how people have been answering each question. So that way you can say, oh, well, if everybody gets this one particular question wrong, then maybe I should rewrite the question or think about how we're teaching it or something like that. All right, that is the test type. We can now go into attendance. Attendance doesn't really have a lot of options because, like I said, all it's going to do is take the percentage of their attendance and apply it to this. So I'm putting in 100 points. So if they have 80% attendance, then they're going to get 80% of this. If they have they're going to get 80 points out of this. If I have 100%, if they have 100% attendance, they're going to get all the points. And we'll leave this in the attendance group, always available, hit save. And we can also do a discussion. If you already have some discussions created, maybe you've been building out your lessons and discussions, then you can choose those here. Otherwise, I'm going to start with a new discussion. We'll call it our first discussion. And we'll give this 50 points. I'm going to put it in, I suppose I should have made a category for this. We'll call this exams. And then we can give it a due date, always available, and I'll go ahead and hit save. And so here we've got our first discussion. Once I click on this, it's not published yet. And I'm going to go ahead and edit this. Why did you choose architecture? Pretty simple. And I can just save this, or I can save and publish it. Not quite ready to publish it yet because I want to add some requirements here. I want them to put in at least 2 comments. I'll get 10 points for that. I want them to put in at least 2 replies. I'll get 10 points for that. Let's do this. I want grade comments out of 15. Grade replies out of 15. So I should have done that grade replies first. So let's go ahead and refresh that real quick. Go back to add requirements. So number of comments is at least 2 for 10. Number of replies is at least 2 for 10. Average reply grade is going to be 15. And average comment grade is going to be 15. I've used up my 50 points. So here's my requirements. That's how it's going to be split up. I also want this to be post first. Max comments, max, let's see. I liked all the rest of that. So we'll go ahead and publish it. Hit save. Now this is published. Students can come in here and start interacting with this. This is also always available. Remember, I've got that here as always available, so I can narrow that down if I don't want them to always interacting with this. Maybe I only want it to be a certain week where they're allowed to interact with it. The final type is academic, but essentially essay is the same as file, except instead of requiring them to upload a file like a paper, it just gives them a window where they can type out their essay. So it's all within Populi. And then peer review essay is just the same as peer review file, except instead of reviewing that uploaded file, they're reviewing the other students' typed out essay within Populi. So those are the different assignment types. We can click on these, see our students. I see none of them have actually submitted a file. This is a file type assignment. And I can hit enter grades. Or I can go to my gradebook and see all my assignments here and enter grades there. Finally, once I'm all done, I can finalize this course. Populi will warn me there are 48 unentered assignment grades. Unless you enter a grade, these assignments will be excused. Now I might say, whoa, whoa, I don't want everything to be excused. Let me go back to the gradebook. And we have this little thing called fill empty grades with zeros. And that will make it so that they actually get a 0 on all those assignments instead of excused. But whatever I do, if I'm ready, I can then finalize this for a couple students and hit submit, or finalize all students and the course, hit submit. And once I do that, this course is now locked down for me. I can't enter any grades or mess around with anybody. All the grades have been pushed to the transcript, and this is kind of historic data. The only way I could continue to edit those grades is if I marked one of my students as incomplete. Then I would still be able to enter grades even after I finalize the whole course. So it gives me a little more time, and I can finalize it and make sure everybody's got a grade. One last thing, and then you guys can fire away with your questions, and that is under the info tab. So let's say we want to go into the future. So now I'm teaching the same course again next year, fall 2016. What I can do is I can clone any of these features from a previous course. So let's say I want to clone my assignments and assignment groups, and I'm going to redo everything else. Well, then I can clone this from what we just set up, fall 2015. And Populi is going to notify me that, okay, if you do this, then all that data from fall 2015 that you're going to bring forward is going to permanently erase whatever's currently in assignments. So what we're saying is that we don't merge assignments. If you already have some assignments there, they're going to get replaced. They will be replaced, not merged. That's okay with me though, because I'm just starting this course. There's nothing in there. I want it to be replaced. So I'll go ahead and check that box and say, yep, I'm okay with that. Hit save. And now I should have shown you the assignments first, but now if I go to assignments, I can see those same things I did in fall 2015 are here in fall 2016. All right, any questions? Remember to submit your questions into the Q&A box so I can see them. If you put something in the chat window, it's something I got to go digging for. So that's a little harder for me to see. I don't see any in the Q&A right now, so I will go digging. Oh, let's see here. So that's all we have, pretty straightforward. Any questions? I don't see any questions popping up, so if you're typing them out, then hopefully you finish them up. So I'll see them before we go, but if I don't see any, then we'll wrap it up. All right, well, I appreciate you all. I'm glad you're on the call, and we're gonna have we'll send out the recording probably in a few days so that you can forward this on to other folks if you think it will be helpful. It'll be on our YouTube channel if you wanna go look up other videos we've done. If you need help, then reach out to our support team. We would love to hear from you, whether on the phone or an email. And if you want to dig a little deeper, you can reach out to your Populi account administrator, your Populi account manager, and ask them. That would be me or Nick Holloway, me, Joseph Schoolin, or Nick Holloway. And we could even do a one-on-one training, webinar training with you if you want. We also have a ton of resources on our YouTube channel of recorded webinar trainings if you just want some overviews before you schedule something with us. So that's an option too. Sandra says, thank you. You're welcome, Sandra. Glad that helped. And take care, everybody. I won't be doing another one of these until after Thanksgiving, so enjoy your holiday. All right, take care. Bye.